Gravity Falls Season 3, Episode 6, Weirdmageddon, The Return. The projection flickered and shattered completely, revealing the devastating truth. The theraprism was collapsing around them, but worse than that, Bill was no longer there. The chamber was empty except for the three of them, trapped in a facility tearing itself apart. "He's gone," Dipper breathed. While we were trapped in his projection, he escaped. Ford's instruments screamed warnings as reality unraveled. "Not just escaped," Ford said grimly. "He's returned to our dimension. And this time, he's not alone." Using Ford's remaining equipment, they created a makeshift dimensional rift. But as they stepped through, they weren't prepared for what awaited them. Gravity Falls was exactly as Bill had shown them. But this time, it was real. The town square was filled with their friends and neighbors, all moving with terrifying synchronization. Seuss, Wendy, Sheriff Blubbs, everyone they cared about now bore the golden glow of Bill's influence. This wasn't an illusion. This was Weirdmageddon returned and more complete than ever. "Welcome home, gentlemen." Bill's voice boomed from the sky, where his massive triangular form hovered like a malevolent sun. "I told you I'd learned about cooperation. Look how beautifully everyone's working together now." The possessed townspeople turned as one, their smiles perfectly identical and utterly wrong. Bill descended, more solid and imposing than they had ever seen. "You see, while you were playing detective in my prison cell, I was already here. The Bill you met in the theraprism? Just a projection, a distraction while I completed my real work." His laughter shook the foundations of reality. Ford stepped forward, voice filled with rage. "You used us. You made us think we were stopping you when we were helping you escape." Bill's eye crinkled with delight. "Oh, Stanford, you always were my favorite student. Yes, I needed someone to break the theraprism's containment from the inside." Stan and Dipper flanked Ford with grim determination. "So what now, Bill? What's the endgame?" Bill's form shifted, becoming more elaborate and terrifying. "Simple, Stanley. I'm going to remake not just this reality, but every reality. The multiverse will become my playground." Dipper's heart broke as he saw Mabel among the possessed, her eyes glowing with golden light. There has to be a way to save them. Bill's attention focused on Dipper with predatory interest. "Oh, Pine Tree, still so optimistic. But you're right. There is something you can do." Bill gestured, and a swirling portal opened behind him, showing glimpses of his true dimension. "You can come with me, all three of you. Enter my domain willingly, and I'll consider sparing this pathetic little town. Refuse, and watch as I turn everyone you've ever loved into my eternal puppets." The choice was impossible: sacrifice themselves or watch their loved ones suffer forever. But Ford made a decision that surprised them all. "We'll come with you, Bill, but not as your prisoners, as your opponents. If we're going to end this, it has to be in your realm, on your terms." Bill's laughter cracked reality itself. "Excellent. I was hoping you'd choose the hard way. It's so much more entertaining." The portal grew larger, its depths promising horrors beyond imagination. "Welcome to the final game, Pine's family. Let's see if you can save your precious multiverse from the inside out." As they stepped toward the portal, Dipper looked back one last time at the possessed town, at Mabel's golden-eyed stare, at everything they were leaving behind. "We'll come back," he whispered. "We'll save them all." But as Bill's dimension swallowed them whole, that promise seemed as fragile as reality itself. The portal closed with a sound like the universe screaming. Gravity Falls was left in Bill's control, its people trapped in golden-eyed servitude, while the only ones who could stop him had walked willingly into his ultimate trap. Weirdmageddon had returned, and Bill Cipher was truly the king of everything. But in the swirling chaos of Bill's dimension, where nightmares were the only reality, three determined souls prepared for the fight of their lives. Because sometimes the only way to defeat a monster is to face him in his own domain, where the rules are his, but the will to fight is still your own. Bill's dimension was a nightmare of floating rocks and twisted reality. Dipper, Stan, and Ford walked carefully across glowing platforms, searching for any clue about Bill's past. "There has to be something here that can help us stop him," Ford said, checking his instruments. As they explored deeper, they found strange ruins covered in triangle symbols. "These look old," Dipper observed, touching the ancient walls. "Older than Bill himself." The symbols began to glow, showing them a path through the chaotic landscape. Following the glowing trail, they discovered a hidden valley where reality seemed more stable. In the center stood a small village of geometric beings. Triangles, squares, and circles living peacefully together. "Incredible," Ford whispered. "A civilization that survived Bill's chaos." An elderly triangle approached them, his form shimmering with age. "I am Euclidean," he said sadly. "I am Bill Cipher's father." The revelation hit them like a thunderbolt. Stan stepped forward. "His father? Then you know how to stop him." Euclidean led them to his home, where the walls were covered with pictures of a young Bill, smaller, happier, surrounded by family. "He wasn't always evil," Euclidean explained. "He was curious, wanted to see beyond our flat world. But when he gained the power to see other dimensions, it drove him mad. He destroyed our entire dimension," Euclidean continued, tears in his ancient eyes. "I barely escaped with a few survivors. We've been hiding here ever since, hoping someone would come who could help us save him." He pulled out a glowing crystal. "This is the memory stone. It contains all of Bill's original memories before the madness." Dipper examined the crystal. "You mean we can make him remember who he used to be?" Euclidean nodded. "But it requires getting close to him, touching his core with the stone. And he won't make it easy." Ford studied the crystal with scientific interest. "The energy readings are incredible. This could actually work." Suddenly, the ground shook as Bill's laughter echoed through the dimension. Well, a family reunion." Bill materialized above them, massive and terrifying. "Hello, Father. Still trying to fix me, I see." His eye blazed with fury as he spotted the memory stone. "My son," Euclidean said, floating upward. "Please, let us help you remember who you really are." But Bill's rage only intensified. "I remember perfectly. I remember being weak, being limited, being boring. I'm so much more now." He raised his hand to destroy the village. "Wait," Dipper shouted, holding up the memory stone. "If you're so powerful, then you're not afraid of a little crystal, right?" Bill paused, his eye narrowing. "You think that trinket can change me? Fine. Let's see what happens when I destroy it myself." Bill dove toward them, but as he reached for the stone, Dipper made a desperate move. He threw himself forward, pressing the memory stone directly against Bill's eye. There was a blinding flash of light, and suddenly Bill's screams filled the dimension, not of rage, but of remembrance. For a moment, Bill's form flickered, showing glimpses of the young triangle he used to be. I remember," he whispered, his voice small and confused. "I remember home. I remember love." But then his eye blazed again, fighting against the memories. "No, I won't go back to being weak." The memory stone cracked under the strain of Bill's resistance, its power fading. "It's not enough," Euclidean said desperately. "He's too far gone. The madness is too strong." But Dipper wasn't giving up. "Then we'll find another way. We'll keep trying until we save him." Bill's form stabilized, the madness winning over the memories. "How touching," he sneered. "But you're too late. Soon, I'll have consumed every reality, and there will be nothing left to remember." He began to fade away, returning to his conquest of the multiverse. As Bill disappeared, Euclidean handed them a small fragment of the broken memory stone. "Take this," he said. "It still holds some power. Perhaps, when the time is right, it will be enough." The fragment glowed softly in Dipper's hand, a tiny spark of hope in the endless chaos. "We'll stop him," Stan promised the grieving father. "We'll find a way to bring your son back." As they prepared to leave the hidden valley, they carried with them not just a weapon against Bill, but the knowledge that somewhere deep inside the Chaos Demon, a scared little triangle was still waiting to come home. After Euclidean's failure to save his son, Bill Cipher unleashed his full rage upon Earth. Within days, the planet became his nightmare playground. In New York, skyscrapers floated upside down, while the Statue of Liberty became a golden triangle with an all-seeing eye. In London, Big Ben twisted into a pretzel as red buses drove along walls. In Tokyo, buildings formed a pyramid crowned with Bill's eye. From space, Earth's continents resembled Bill's malevolent face, pulsing with chaotic energy. In the interdimensional void, three heroes carried humanity's last hope. Dipper clutched the Memory Stone fragment while Stanford led them toward Dimension 52, where he had survived for 30 years. Ford, can we really save him after everything he's done? Dipper asked uncertainly. Stanford looked at his nephew with eyes that had witnessed the darkest corners of the multiverse. Even in the deepest darkness, there's always light. We're going to the only place Bill has never corrupted. Where's that? Stan asked gruffly. Dimension 52, my sanctuary for 3 decades. The portal opened to reveal a breathtaking world of floating crystalline formations. The sky shimmered between purple and orange while crystalline beings approached them gracefully. Stanford Pines, spoke Zephyr, their leader. You return in our darkest hour. Bill's influence spreads even here. Our younger brothers lose their forms under his corruption. We need the Council's wisdom, Ford replied with determination. In the Grand Chamber, ancient beings whose crystalline bodies contained galaxies listened as Ford told his tale. The Council leader spoke with a voice like the echo of time itself. Tell your companions how you survived here and what truths you learned. Ford took a deep breath. When I first arrived, broken and desperate, I had nothing but the clothes on my back. I learned to eat crystalline moss that tasted like liquid starlight and drink pure light from springs flowing from spacetime's heart. I slept in caves of singing crystal, always alert because predators here hunt through dreams. His voice grew stronger. But most importantly, I learned every dimension has a heart, a core of pure existence that even Bill cannot destroy. These hearts are eternal and indestructible. The fragment in Dipper's hand began glowing with brilliant blue light, responding to Ford's words. Zephyr looked amazed. The child carries Cipher's original essence, the pure being he was before madness consumed him. Ford leaped up, realization dawning. Euclidean wasn't giving us a weapon. He gave us the key to Bill's own heart. We can restore him to who he was before corruption. What do you mean? Stan asked, staring at the glowing crystal. Every being has an original core of pure existence, Ford explained excitedly. If we can reach that core using this fragment, we can restore him to who he was before he became a chaos demon. The council leader nodded slowly. But this requires returning to corruption's source, where chaos first entered your reality. Gravity Falls, Ford said with determination, where I opened the portal and let Bill into our world. The crystalline beings offered protective amulets and supplies. Zephyr warned them, the path back will be treacherous. Bill's influence grows stronger near your dimension. Space and time may unravel around you. We understand the risks, Ford replied firmly, but we cannot abandon him to eternal darkness. Dipper raised the fragment high. This hope is all we have, but maybe hope is all we need. Stan placed a hand on his nephew's shoulder. We're the Pines family. We've beaten impossible odds before. Ford turned to the council one final time. Thank you for teaching me to survive and never lose hope. The council leader blessed them. You came broken, you leave whole. May all hearts guide your path. They stepped through the portal back into the void. Ford looked back at his sanctuary. 30 years ago, I ran from my mistakes. Today, I'm going back to face them. When they emerged above Earth, the sight was heartbreaking. The planet was twisted beyond recognition, its continents forming Bill's sneering face pulsing with red energy. Look what he's done, Dipper whispered. We'll fix this, Stan declared. For everyone we love. Ford pointed to the distorted planet. There, the portal to Gravity Falls. Bill preserved it as a trophy of his victory. Then that's where we're going, Dipper said, gripping the fragment. Back to where it all began. Their ship turned toward the twisted Earth while the Memory Stone fragment glowed like hope against cosmic darkness. Ford reflected on his journey. 30 years taught him hope exists everywhere. Sometimes hope is the most powerful force in the universe. Ahead lay Gravity Falls, where everything started and where everything would end. The small Oregon town held the key to saving not just their world, but Bill Cipher's very soul. With the fragment of his original essence in hand, they prepared for the final confrontation that would determine the fate of all realities. The interdimensional void swirled around them as they approached their destiny, carrying the last spark of hope for a universe consumed by chaos.